round 4 of Give Me Something, Joey. We had a mixed bag last week. I thought you were all right, actually. Your absolute was the Bombers bringing back the edge, or consistently going with the edge. Big tick.
Got
there.
that one right.
Harley Reid have a breakout game in his third game.
I was disappointed with that. I was expecting a bit more in his Victorian debut.
He's your hard on him.
He was pretty quiet.
He's played for 5 minutes of footy. And your roughie was Curnow to kick 10 versus North. 4 goal.
Yeah, 7+ I'd change it to, but 4 was not bad. They kicked 9 between them, so that was not too bad of a result. But I thought he might have filled his boots a bit more, Charlie Curnow. You weren't quite as successful last week.
I was awful.
Yeah, bad.
I went for the Swans to kick their biggest winning margin of the century against Richmond. They got beat. So I was a complete wipeout. My possible was no good. Port to show their credentials. So we start again. We go again.
Righto.
All right. Do you want me to start?
You go first.
All
yeah,
right.
give us your absolute.
My absolute this week is that Jack Ginnivan will get 6 or more free kicks from the umpires.
6?
They'll overcorrect. You know they will. They're making mistakes as it is.
Yeah.
We know they've been brought in by Laura Kane, and this action here this weekend will be a free kick.
How do you think the Collingwood players are going to take it when he gets his 5th free kick for high contact?
Oh.
They'll go off their heads.
How long into the game before he gets his first one, you reckon? Maybe have a stab.
I'm not sure. Is he still going to raise his arm is my question. Do you think he'll still raise his arm in a high tackle and do that motion?
I don't think he's changing his technique.
You reckon he'll just keep doing it?
And the AFL have said they've made an error in not giving him free kicks. So the onus now is on the umpires to correct, not Jack. Do you not agree with that?
It's interesting.
We argued about this.
We did argue about this because 2 years ago, Jack Ginnivan was the poster boy for the arm raise, and everyone across the competition was starting to do it. It was becoming a real trend, and the AFL clamped it and said, if you raise your arm and invite the contact or help sort of exacerbate the contact, we're going to no longer pay the free kicks. Now, I would say most of the players in the league don't do that anymore, and there's only one young man that still continues to do it. So that was why I was like, well, if he's not helping himself by raising his arm. So if he now starts getting paid for raising his arm, does that mean we're going to see players now go back to the reverting to lifting the arm and getting free kicks?
Don't care, Joey, as long as Jack gets 6 free kicks on the weekend. Hey, where are you going to go with your absolute?
I'm going with the St Kilda Richmond game on Sunday afternoon. Saints have to bounce back. They were disappointed with that loss to Essendon. And I don't think Ross the boss is going to allow the same luxuries to Nick Vlosten that he allowed to Nick Martin. So Nick Martin ran around a half-back and had 44 touches. Interesting, Ross
No influence.
Ross Lyon didn't give him a coach's vote,
Didn't he?
by the way. Did you notice that?
Took it personally.
Maybe, but I don't think Nick Vlosten they're going to give the same luxuries because he had 15 intercepts last week against Sydney. It was an equal career high for him. It's a different kettle of fish to allow a player to intercept the ball. That does affect the chances of winning the game. On the way out, getting some ball on offence, Ross wasn't worried. He won't allow that for Nick Vlosten. They've got to find a way to clamp him because St Kilda
who clamps him?
Well, I don't know if they necessarily...
Well, you know something clearly.
No, I don't know something.
Are you talking to your people again?
No, I'm not talking to my people. I'm just going with a gut feel.
Are you going with information behind the scenes?
Because St Kilda do get high up the ground. That's how they like to play it. If Nick Vlosten just sits back and owns that St Kilda forward 50, he could get another 15 intercepts. So they will have a plan. I'm not sure what it'll be, but I guarantee you that Nick Vlosten will not have as much impact as he did against the Sydney Swans.
My absolute next week will be St Kilda have got a leak, if that's the case. If he gets tagged.
What about your possible? What's possible?
My possible is that this season could be Season of the Sticks. You know the song, Season of the Sticks?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that Sticks Kernahan could be the man giving the cup over to Carlton
I was wondering where you're going
on the end of the last weekend in September. And to get that done, they're going to have to tick off some big games and some high-quality opponents. I think they're going to make a statement this weekend. I think Fremantle are in pretty good form, been reasonable against teams that we expected them probably to beat the last couple of weeks. Adelaide, they were too good for in a dour battle, to put it nicely. They were very good against Brisbane. Want to see them against the Blues. I just think the Blues are well stacked and playing a different brand of footy now that scores heavily. It's not bash you to death like they did last year. It's more ball movement. So I think the Blues are right in the mix this year.
Yeah.
And I'm warming to them more week on week. So I think they'll make a statement. You agree with that?
It wouldn't take you long to turn on Freo. You pumped them up for 3 weeks.
I don't like Freo. I've never liked Freo.
Nah, that's a good call. The Blues, they are flying at the moment.
Get a lot of feedback on Twitter, I'll take that back straight away. What about your possible?
Well, I'm going to continue. The Bombers worked for me last week. It went well. I'm going to go again. I'm going to double down on the Bombers. The possible is if there's an upset this round, it could be Essendon against Port Adelaide. Because Port Adelaide's whole game at the moment is based...
You've never liked Port.
Don't be like that. It's based off their clearance game. Port Adelaide's clearance game and played in their front half. That is their signature.
Yeah.
Well, we know how well Essendon are going at the clearance game at the moment. So if Essendon can get the ball in their forward half, We know they can score. Jake Stringer's in good form. They might just test this Port Adelaide defence that have still shown some holes in their team defence. They're doing a lot right, Port, but were exposed a couple of times against Melbourne. I can just see the Bombers maybe causing an upset, and all of a sudden everyone might have to start rethinking whether this could be the year Essendon finally win a final.
You showed some terrific vision last week on First Crack with the Neil Bullen rolling up the field. Do you think that the Bombers could look at something like that to confuse Port Adelaide?
I would think you'd have to try and upset them because they play such a 1v1 defence, Port Adelaide. You need to find ways to try and sort of confuse them a little bit. So let's see.
Dopey
Brad
Backman.
Scott.
Have they got Dopey Backman?
There's Dopey Backman.
Okay, all right.
So let's see how Brad Scott goes, and that might be the upset of the round.
I'm going my roughie this weekend. Now, I haven't had much success with my roughie, but I've done a bit of research.
That's why it's a roughie.
Well, it's been very rough what I've gone with. I don't think the Suns have got a great matchup for Toby Green. We had a look at our man Bodie Euland last week, who's up there in the reverse Coleman.
Yeah.
I'm concerned that they don't have a matchup. I know Lemons has been that player in the past. He's played 218 games, Toby, and only 6 times he's kicked 5 goals or more. I think we're going to see the 7th.
He's due, isn't he?
5 goals played. He only kicked 2 goals for the year.
I know. Yeah.
Can you believe that?
It's amazing.
2 goals. Where are you, Toby? We need you back.
All
what are
right.
you going with?
Well, I'm going with my roughie for the weekend. It's a nice opportunity for Brisbane Lions. I don't like picking on your Kangaroos, but they've been out of form. They get a golden opportunity against the Kangaroos' defence.
This is depressing.
So these Brisbane forwards that have been struggling, that everyone's been talking about.
I know who you're going to say.
I think Danaher, Hipwood and Charlie Cameron will kick more goals in this game than they've kicked combined for the season.
Oh,
But that's only 12 goals. It's only 12. So Danaher's kicked 5,
Only
Hipwood's
12.
kicked 4, Cameron's kicked 3 for the year. So that's 12 goals combined. I think those 3 can kick 12 goals or more combined this weekend against the Kangaroos.
so if those
Get
3...
themselves back in form.
I know where you're going here. If those 3 kick 12, what sort of score do you think they'll put on the Kangaroos?
Yeah, it'll be 22, 23 goals plus.
Really starting to annoy me, Joey. I've got to be honest. You're picking on the poor old Kangaroos.
I know.
You can't fire a
It's
shot.
low-hanging fruit. I know.
Hey?
I know. I won't do it next week, I promise.
We've made a profit 12 years in a row, though. Things are going well. Hey, look forward to catching up with you again next week on Give Me Something. Let's see if we can get closer to the mark.